Welcome to the Unit 2 project. This project will be slightly different from the Unit 1 project. Overall, you'll be working with the South Ridge Park. This site will also have 3 pages, just like the first project. You must have one table that has merged cells and column and/or row headers. You must also include one form. Those details will come in a later slide. You must also apply accessibility techniques, as you never know who exactly will be using this site. You will have the photos provided for you, and a basic form processor is provided as well. However, the text is not provided. You will create the text yourself. First thing, let's get organized. Locate the Unit 2 Project Resources folder and create a new folder for yourself named Last First Project 2 with dashes in between. Please use your actual first and last name. If not, I will hand it back to you. Once you have the Unit 2 project resources, open it up and you notice that there are a lot of pictures and a form tester. Again, the text will not be provided for you, so you will be creating it. Make sure you copy all of this into your project folder and then organize appropriately based on what assets are available. Keep in mind that how you name your folders will actually be graded just like Unit 1. The first page is the home page. Again, do not use default.html or home.html. Please name this index.html. You must use both image resources that are provided on the slide, and it must contain a paragraph describing the park, its location, hours, and other contact information. Again, you will be creating this content, so it doesn't really matter what it says as long as it's relevant to the actual project. The facilities page must contain 2 different text or paragraph blocks that describe the park's services, using the image and the content suggestions provided. The first picture with the kids should have something along the lines of youth sports leagues use soccer, baseball, and basketball spaces. And then the one with the view and the picnic table, something along the lines of solitary and group spaces are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Please remember that whatever you write should go through some kind of reading grade analyzer to see if it works with the appropriate grade level. You don't want to use anything too technical or jargony, as some people may not know exactly what you're talking about. The last one is the rentals page. It must contain the image of this shelter. It also must contain a table that lists the rental fees per hour for each of the shelters. The South Shelter accommodates up to 50 people, $80 for 4 hours for South Ridge residents, or $125 for non-residents, $150 for 8 hours for South Ridge residents, $240 for non-residents. The North Shelter accommodates up to 150 people, $125 for 4 hours for South Ridge residents, $200 for non-residents, or $240 for 8 hours for South Ridge residents, $470 for non-residents. As you can tell, there is a lot of repetition in here, so please analyze this content and narrow it down as appropriate to put it into a table. You must also have a form on this page as well, letting users apply for a rental. When creating the form, only collect personal contact and event details. There's no reason for someone to put in a credit card number, as the park will be in touch after reviewing the application to arrange payment at a later date. Require only what you think should be required. Not every form should be not every field should be required in this form. Use the provided form handler to send your form data, testing it to make sure that it's giving you the response you want. And your form must contain, at a minimum, 1 text field, 1 date field, 1 number field, 2 different radio button groups, 1 checkbox, a multi-line text box, a drop-down menu, a data list, a submit button, 2 field sets with legends, and a label for every field. Again, this is a minimum. Feel free to add more, but keep in mind, only collect information that is absolutely necessary. Every page should contain branding, such as the logo that is provided on the slide, and the Southridge Park name, just to establish that people are on the correct site. A Level 1 heading at the top that is different on each page. A navigation bar formatted as an unordered list. Phrase elements from Unit 1. HTML5 semantic sectioning elements. Accessibility best practices. Valid code. This is a must. I am very surprised how many people still submit projects with invalid code. Developer-friendly code. And must be accessible and usable in all major browsers. This will be tested. So hopefully you have a good idea about how this project can go along. A few coding practices as usual. Code must validate. Again, please test it against a validator. I'm using the same one as you, so if you get any errors, I will get them as well. If you get any warnings, you can disregard them, such as the date field. Your code must be properly indented to show relationships for parent-child nesting. If you use line breaks and non-breaking spaces, they must be used properly. And make sure that the code is developer-friendly and use best practices, specifically from Unit 1. A few tips. This may be overwhelming, so take it one step at a time and don't overthink this. You'll be very surprised how many challenges you can get over your head with by just overthinking it. Take a moment, step back, analyze it, and see what a better solution can be. Don't do this in one day. Please do not rush it. Plan appropriately, plan your time, and make sure you get this done in an adequate amount of time. Less than 24 hours is not a good time frame to get this done. Also, don't rely on sending me email questions Sunday night expecting an immediate answer. If you try to send me something at say 11:40 at night, chances are I won't be able to get back to you with the proper answer or even enough time to discuss the problem for you to find the proper answer. Validate often. Once you add things, make sure you validate your code. If you can catch something early, then it helps you instead of having to go back and retrace your steps. Save and test often. Make sure the files save in case your computer crashes or anything else, and test to make sure what you're adding is actually what you want to add and it shows up. Test every link and media player. There are no media players in this project, but if you want to add some, you're more than welcome. It's not required for this. And if you have the brackets extensions properly installed, make use of them, especially the Beautify one. For grading, each item mentioned will be checked. Again, please validate your code. All the items in the form will also be checked. Also, all the content that is written will be checked against a grade checker as well to make sure that the appropriate reading grade is understandable by all parties. Folder organization is critical. Please make sure to organize and name all of your assets appropriately. File names are critical. As I mentioned before, do not name your main page home.html or default.html or mainpage.html. Please name an index. Everything else is up to you, but please make sure that you're naming it something appropriately instead of file 1, file 2, or main page 1, main page 2, etc. Please be smart when it comes to organizing and naming your actual files. Any misspelled words, punctuation, improper tags or formatting, or blank lines is a -1 point each. Improper validation will result in a 10% reduction per page from your overall score. Keep that in mind. Run it through the validator. If it comes back with any errors, go back and fix them. It's quite easy. That's it for Unit 2 project. If you have any questions, please send me an email or hit me up on Twitter, and I'll get back to you in the best possible way with the best possible answer. Next week, we're jumping into Chapter 11 and going into CSS. So, again, if you have any questions, please let me know.